what you do consistently is what moves your business.
Hmm.
It is very rarely that one thing you do that suddenly like opens the floodgates and there's just this huge change. So that like Christmas trend or that like little twist, like yes, if you have the bandwidth and you have done the planning to do that, then that's awesome. But
Uh-huh.
what you do consistently is what it creates the business that you have, whether that is your marketing or anything else.
Time for the next episode. Let's get started. Welcome back, everyone. Gosh, we're in the thick of the holidays, huh?
Yeah.
Jingle bells are ringing. We got all sorts of stuff happening right now.
I did notice you do have a Christmas tree up.
I do. I have a few.
Yeah.
There's two to your left. There's one upstairs. There's a few that, yeah, they're all over the house. We
Hmm.
overdo it here.
That's fine. You got it's fun for the kiddos.
It is fun, but is it fun for the businesses though? How do
Mm,
entrepreneurs deal with like the holidays and everything that happens?
that's a little bit less fun.
Right?
That's a little bit less
Yeah,
fun.
the holidays impact everyone differently, including
Hmm.
entrepreneurs. And that's a little bit of what we're going to be talking about today.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Today we want to talk about how the holiday season is different for businesses, especially small businesses, and how they show up with their marketing.
Yeah, and I think there's, with the season, there's like an added pressure that gets piled on, not only, personally in mental health and all that, but as business owners,
Yeah.
right? I mean, we do feel that pressure of like the end of the year.
Hmm.
Um, why do you think that is? And what do you think are some of the pressures that our fellow business owners are dealing with?
Yeah. So for me, the holiday season screams sales.
Hmm.
Right? Like everything that we're whether that's supposed to be that way or not, everything that we look around, it just says sales or like buying things, and you're also personally buying a lot of things. So
Yeah.
for me, it feels like I should be selling more stuff because everybody
Hmm.
is buying stuff. Um,
It's a missed opportunity if we're not, right?
right.
Or at
No,
least that's a perception that,
yeah, and I don't, and that like really doesn't translate like marketing business, like
yeah.
that doesn't necessarily make sense. But I do think that with all of the buying of things that are happening, there is a lot of pressure to like,
Hmm.
well, we're buying everything else.
Yeah.
Why aren't we buying that? So what about you? What do you think?
Yeah, I think like there's the personal pressure of, the holidays affect people differently, right? So
Hmm.
there's like a mental aspect to that as well. And as entrepreneurs and humans, we all go through that.
Hmm.
Now, as entrepreneurs, there's also the fact that like the holidays are oftentimes when people have less time to spend on their marketing or less time to spend on working on their business or delivering the services that they would have if you have staff, then you got to manage schedules and when are people going to be on or off and balancing being a good employer with still being a manager of people and making sure they want to be in your environment. So
Yeah.
it's a complex time
Hmm.
to the time of the year rather.
Yeah.
And so I think that's like the big thing is like for myself, I know, I take uh the week of Thanksgiving off. I typically take the, sometime around Christmas off as well. And so that's 2 extra weeks
Hmm.
in like 2 months or really a month and some change,
Yeah.
right? So it drastically cuts down the amount of work time that I have that month. And so that is always like as we're approaching holiday season, if my ducks are not in a row, I feel that pinch, right? I
Yeah.
feel and I'll pay for it at one point or another.
Yeah.
And I
No,
think a
that
lot of people deal with that too.
I think that's super common. That makes a lot of sense. Things get very, very scrambly when there is travel, when there is family, when there is holidays. It just
Yeah.
kind of compresses your time.
Yeah, and I think that leads a little bit into, when we are dealing with that compressed timeline, then what are some of the ways that people are end up overextending themselves? Where, either intentionally or not, this time of the year just leads us to try to do more
Hmm.
in perhaps less available work time, and that can be a little complicated.
Yeah, I mean, when you are feeling the pressure to do more because you are seeing more marketing, right? Just
Yeah.
typically around this time of the year, like we
Hmm.
see more stuff out and about as
Yeah.
far as marketing goes. And the idea that you want to do more, but then there is also the spend time with loved ones, families, friends, like whatever your loved ones group is,
Hmm.
like you're asking for more out of time while taking it away, which is basically what you were saying earlier.
Yeah.
But it's just, yeah, it can be kind of a lot.
Yeah, and if you don't set up the, if you don't set up the right systems or if you don't do the right amount of planning
Hmm.
to how are you going to deal with things? you might be putting yourself in a weird spot. Are you, and there's always this balance of, are you going to do like your out of office
Hmm.
email, right? That sends the automatic message, hey, reach out to me back in this day, or are you going to have a redirect to someone from your team who is checking email? Or, and in the same way for, if you have a phone system, are people going to
Yeah.
be able to call you or not? Um, I think anything that we try to do without planning for the holidays can lead to that overextension and overcommitment.
Oh, 100%.
Um, if the thing about marketing is marketing doesn't typically happen in real time.
No, it doesn't. Well, a lot of small businesses do try to do marketing in real
Yeah,
time, but it's not supposed to happen in real time.
yeah. There was I had a friend who worked in corporate, and uh, she would joke that they uh, every year in November, they remembered that Black Friday was upon them, and they
Hmm.
had to come up with a big promotion. And it's like this was a multi-billion-dollar company, and surprise! Oh my goodness, we haven't done anything for Black Friday, right? Um, if a corporation of that size has those issues, that's probably fair to say that small businesses are going to be dealing with that as well.
Well, yeah. Yeah, yeah. No, for sure. So it's definitely planning ahead and scheduling things is going to be you're going to see a theme in this episode. But yeah, it's definitely planning is going to be super super important so that you get to spend that time so you get to have that balance that makes you actually want to keep being a small business owner.
Yeah. So let's talk about mindset specifically.
Sure.
If we are, the holidays, there's all this stuff going on. We have all these plans and aspirations for a wonderful time where we're all going to be making a ton of money and taking advantage of the fact that everyone is in this consumeristic mindset for the season.
Mhm.
But how do we shift from the mindset of I need to do everything to
Mhm.
instead focusing on what is going to matter the most for our business during the month of December?
Mine's kind of like a boring answer, but you know, what you do consistently is what moves your business.
Hmm.
It is very rarely that one thing you do that suddenly like opens the floodgates and there's just this huge change. So that like Christmas trend or that like little twist, like yes, if you have the bandwidth and you have done the planning to do that, then that's awesome. But
Uh-huh.
what you do consistently is what it creates the business that you have, whether that is your marketing or anything else. So for me, it's really nailing down that just keep showing up the way that I have been showing up, maybe with like a Santa hat or some twinkly lights or something in the back of a graphic, but like, like I don't necessarily want people to go into the mindset of it is the holidays and therefore I must yeah, I must do all the things. It's just not that's not actually going to be what does it for your business even though I know it feels really really tempting.
Yeah.
Like
Uh-huh. And that's a great point because a lot of things with marketing, like they take time.
Yeah.
Like we talk about how many brand touches you need
Mhm.
to get someone comfortable engaging with the brand or buying from the brand. And I think there's I have shared that I believe in momentum in marketing and in business.
Mhm.
Focus on what got you here, right? If you're looking back in December and you've had your business for, either this whole year or for several years, what has gotten you to the point where you are? And because if you keep doing that, you're going to build upon it, and the holiday season by itself will just kind of help lift that up even higher.
Yeah, absolutely.
And that will lead you to finish the year strong. So, yes, to your point, double down on what you're doing. Be
Yeah.
consistent. Okay, now we're going to get into the thick of it because we want to talk a little bit about visibility during the holiday season, and how can we can achieve that, how we can get in front of our customers without necessarily overcommitting.
Mhm.
Do you have some thoughts on that, Liz?
Yeah, I have some big thoughts on that because it's something that it is something
Mm,
that really should be true year round, but especially when you're trying to balance the holidays is using your planning and scheduling tools. S As you mentioned earlier, marketing's not necessarily happening in real time, and so scheduling your content out in advance to where you have a regular posting cadence, but you don't necessarily need to be there, that is okay. You are allowed to do
mhm.
that. So, like, I highly encourage you to create your content in advance, even if it's a little bit more of a push like right now, so that come Christmas Day, you're not like, "Oh, I need to, like, log on and post a Merry Christmas
Yeah.
graphic." Like, don't I mean, is it the end of the world? No, but that's not what you want to be thinking about. That's not what
Uh-huh.
you want to be doing. So use a scheduling tool.
Yeah, and I would argue that if it is, December 25th and you realize that you have not posted your, Merry Christmas post, plan it and do it for the next year. Go ahead and record it early.
Mhm.
Schedule ahead of time. Marketing doesn't happen in real time,
Yep.
and so you need to plan ahead. If you're not being good about having those systems leading up, then take the opportunities when and just plan for, just put it on the next year pile.
Hmm.
Because something that you're going to do just in a nick of time there is not going to have
Any
that big of an
impact?
impact.
No.
And then, the other thing that I would say is that marketing is a lot about perception,
Hmm.
right? The way that we brand our businesses, the way that we create promotions and put things out there, it's about getting customers and leads to perceive our business and our products and services in a certain way.
Hmm.
So we can do that with marketing. Giving the impression that the business is active doesn't mean that you need to be there posting live that second. Schedule it out, plan things ahead of time. There are sales that you can schedule on your website, and you don't have to be going there live and pressing the button. There's tools for you to do that. For any promotions, if you're doing anything print, guess what? You're not running to the print shop to do flyers the day of. You got
Oh,
to plan
really?
that.
Crap.
If you're doing advertising, you're not calling the magazine that day, right? It's already been these things have scheduled, and I think we were used to a lot more of that in the olden days of my generation, Liz. When
No, I expect things immediately. I don't know
yeah,
what
you're
you
like,
have.
boom, come on.
Yeah, like why was it not on my door 5 minutes ago? I ordered it 7 minutes ago. That's just how Amazon works. No,
Yeah.
no, but that is a very, very important piece of this, is there is this immediacy culture, this like
Hmm.
urgency culture. You don't always have to like that isn't there was a lot of infrastructure in place in order to
Hmm.
create that.
Yeah.
You can just plan your stuff ahead, schedule your stuff ahead, and if you miss a post, it's not the end of the world.
Yeah.
It's really not.
Okay, so then I want to jump into content because
Mm.
this time of the year, there's some businesses that, or some business owners rather, who they might be low on time or on energy because of everything that we talked about. So how can they simplify their content
Mhm.
for the month of December?
Yeah, I mean, okay, when you're looking at creating content that works and creating content as a business owner or even as a content creator, you do not have to reinvent the wheel every single time that you decide to put out a post. In fact, that is doing it like very much the hard way, and really don't recommend that you
Uh-huh.
do it that way. It's great to test out new things, but especially when you're pinched for time, if you look back at like over the last couple of months, what's performed well,
Hmm.
right? And then you can just directly repurpose that. My preference is to add like a small tweak,
Uh-huh.
like adjust, maybe like switch out an image or like, that sort of thing, like maybe tweak the copy a bit. But
Hmm.
also, have a content marketing company. So of course I feel that way. it's,
Yeah.
it's a little different for me, but like literally looking at just what did well. And if you have a phrase that you're like, you know what? This graphic with this phrase on it worked really, really well,
Uh-huh.
use that phrase again. Like, don't try to come up with another one like it. Use that phrase again.
Uh-huh.
It's that sort of thing where like we don't have to repeat. So just looking at what did to sum up, just looking at what did well and then tweaking or just directly reusing what
Hmm.
did well.
I like that. Because I think that again that ties to everything we've been talking about with momentum, with what got us there. One of the things that, like, depending on how you're recording your content or creating content, rather, it might be that you're not having time to record it. So you take a look back at your camera roll.
Hmm.
Did you do a good job of recording things over the year? And if so, then you have a whole bunch of things that you can lean back on. You can celebrate. It's time of year where people want to celebrate. They want to look back at the year. This is when people are sending out newsletters of this is all that's happened this year. Maybe I launch a product or a service, and
Oh,
your
absolutely.
community is going to want to celebrate that with you. Why not celebrate the events that you went to, the new clients you got, the any awards or certifications, or cool things that have happened. So take a look back at the old camera roll on your phone.
I think that's great. I also think like the I haven't had time to record.
Hmm.
One thing I love for when you haven't had time to record is your best performing videos, create a carousel or a graphic
Okay. Yeah.
repeating the information from those.
Hmm.
Like most videos, you can make so many static posts that you don't actually have to be able to show up in front of a camera in order
Hmm.
to distribute. So if you're wanting to put out something new and you don't necessarily want to just put out the same video, you can actually. But if you're like, oh, I don't want to do that, or I've done that once already, or something like that, you can take the concept and go, okay, so this is what I said, and turn that script into a carousel.
Uh-huh.
Like don't reinvent the wheel if you don't have to.
Yeah. I like that. Yeah. I mean, repurposing is something that I think we look at it with almost like, oh, like we're cheating on our audience or on ourselves by doing it, but
No.
that is how, we're able to create so much content, right? It's because it's you came up with an idea. It's a good idea. Guess what? There's a small percentage of your community that's going to be seeing that. So present it in a different way, and you're going to get more exposure to it.
Well, I mean, I quite literally created a repurposing framework for you with your social media strategy.
Yeah.
Like it's like it is not just like it isn't even just a time saving thing. Like it is a smart thing to do,
Hmm.
just in general for your business to repurpose and reuse the same ideas. Because just around the time that you're like, I think I'm repeating myself, is when your audience is actually going to remember what you said at all.
Yeah.
So because you're the one seeing it, so you're in it, so you're like, oh, like I've already said this, and they're going to think they don't remember.
Uh-huh.
Like
Yeah.
you need to repeat yourself so that it sticks. That's why we need so many touch points in marketing.
Yeah. Okay, so let's talk about schedules and boundaries. So, if small businesses are, if around this time, how can they set boundaries to either to slow down their posting schedule without necessarily losing momentum?
Yeah, so I mean, I think that kind of comes back to the planning thing for
Uh huh.
me. Like, plan how are you going to answer? I mean, again, I'm thinking of this from a social media and content marketing perspective. But like, plan when you're going to be answering your DMs or how you're going to be
Hmm.
handling it. If you're going to hand it off to somebody else, plan to do that. If you're not, put like some sort of announcement up, just being like, hey, like we're out of office, but we'll be getting back to you. Just communicate. It's not ghosting if you just communicate.
Yeah.
So I mean that's pretty simple for me. And then schedule your stuff in advance. I'm probably gonna say that 1,000 times during this episode. Um, and yeah, you don't have to be immediately available during the holidays. It's okay.
Hmm.
It's really okay.
Yeah, and I think for like if we're talking about just operation side of things, right? For business that provides services, um, replying to a message doesn't mean working on a project.
No, it does not.
So you can either through an out of office message or an automated reply, or even you reply if you're checking your emails once a day. You can reply something like, "Hey, thanks for reaching out to me. I've seen this. I'll be getting back to you on this date."
Hmm.
Or like there are projects that, like for instance, my website projects, using me as an example.
Hmm.
I have a set number of weeks for that project that once I onboard a client, I'll let them know, or even before then, it's on my site. This project takes this many weeks versus that many weeks. It doesn't mean that I am every day working 8 hours a day on that project.
No.
It'll be done by then. And depending on what your holiday schedule is, it might mean that even with the holidays, you still have time to complete that project over time. So, um, replying to a message doesn't mean you're working on the project. I think set boundaries and guardrails around working on
Hmm.
projects when you want to be present with your family and your people.
Yeah,
But you can have those automated communicated messages, and
absolutely.
and so on that point, you're not going to be if you're concerned with letting your customers down because you're not 24/7, 365, right? That lowers that stress level a little bit
Yeah.
by saying you're still able to deliver in the way that you are.
Well, it's the same sort of thing as like, okay, so I have a client who he almost exclusively texts me at 10 p.m.
Okay.
Okay. I don't answer texts at 10 p.m. and he
Yeah.
knows I don't answer texts at 10 p.m. But I don't do business communication at 10 p.m. I'm
Hmm.
not even awake
Yeah.
at 10 p.m. So I'm not doing anything wrong or letting him down by waiting until 8 or 9 a.m. when I start working
Yeah.
again to answer his stuff. Holidays are a very similar idea. It is
Uh-huh.
not like, I mean, if I was going to take like a week, I'd probably shoot him his thing back, be like, hey, I'm like not there right now. Like,
Uh-huh.
this is when I'm going to be able to have this communication. But there is not like, there, people are people. Like,
Yeah.
customers are people too.
Hmm.
I think that's one of the nice things about being a small business is you're still perceived as like that human element that corporate maybe doesn't necessarily have the luxury of. But I at least look at small businesses like businesses run by human beings who have
Yeah.
human being things going on. I don't know if that's
Exactly. Yeah. And hot tip for those of you who like texting late at night, schedule it. Schedule your text. Goodness. Just don't accidentally send it. I haven't done that. Nope.
No, never in a million years has he done that.
Yeah, I'm a night owl, so I'm up at night, and if I communicate over text, please have an iPhone so I can schedule my text to you. Have an Android, I'm out of luck. I can schedule it to iPhones though.
Okay, so let's talk about like the types of marketing stuff that doesn't require daily effort during all of this because I do think that there's this like there really is this thought that like you have to be doing the marketing all of the time, but
Hmm.
marketing doesn't actually require a daily
Yeah.
effort. So tell me a little bit about that.
So I have clients that are in the product space where they very much need to be, up and running during holiday seasons, but
Hmm.
they themselves are not going to be running during holiday seasons. They don't have a physical store, right? They have like they fulfill things online. So we do the same. We do in December the same thing we do every other month. We schedule our promos, our website promos. That's not me going up to the website and clicking the button and turning it on.
Oh, it's not? I
No.
want my money back.
It is me going in during my office hours and clicking the schedule and publish this at this time. And, and there's all sorts of tools depending on what you're using on your site to do this and
Yeah.
what kind of website you have, where you can publish it at time and you can send a push notification from the website at that time, which people get in real time at, you know, 9 o'clock in the morning in their time zone, and they're ready to go. So scheduling things out on your site is a great way to do that. Of course, if you're doing anything printed, guess what? You're not doing that live anyways, right? It takes time for people to review and do the production on the print work that you send. So print ads, mailers, anything, billboards or whatnot. Email marketing is not happening live as well. You're scheduling that out. You're planning for it. So a majority of the marketing things don't require that right away effort. I think there are some, like I have had some clients and leads who they use live marketing as a way to, when there's a slump, they can bump it up. Like I've had, didn't end up being a client, but a lead who run a, what was it, like a juice shop or something like that, and like text marketing ended up being great for them because they had a big list of clients who were on text, and they had a gym that was right next to them, and if they hit, they knew the time that the gym ended. If they sent that the class ended, if they sent the text notification on a slow day right as the class ended, everyone just came in and from the class and got there
Love
just
that.
half
I
hour.
love that
Yeah.
for her or them
Um,
or
but you don't need to do this all the time and every time. And if you have it set right, you can schedule it too, even then.
hmm.
So,
Well, yeah, and I mean, there are things like, okay, there are elements of what I do that is real time.
mhm,
That's one of the things that makes social media kind of a albatross, right? Is that there are things you just don't necessarily have to do them all the time when the trade-off
mhm.
is your family and the holidays and your mental
Yeah.
health and the busyness. But like, yeah, when you're having a slow period or something like that, like stories and things like that, like they can be scheduled, but they're best done in real time and things like that. So they do exist, but it's just a we don't have to do all of the things all the time in order to be successful. Like we can
Exactly.
we can prioritize, and that's totally okay.
Yeah.
It's also okay if you decide that you want to do stuff like that during the holidays. We're not telling you you have to take all of your time off,
Uh-huh.
but you you can, and I think that's really important.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. It's just there are social media components that are that way. It's just that I would not I'm not doing them in exchange of like I'm not doing them over Thanksgiving. I'm not doing them over Christmas. I'm not doing it
Yeah.
over that because I don't know. I value it more.
Exactly. Okay, so let's talk to the smaller businesses, the ones who are, I'd put myself in that category of, um, where the entrepreneur is the face of the business. If you are going to be running a lighter schedule during the
Hmm.
holiday,
Yeah.
right? How do you communicate to your audience in a way that feels professional but also human?
Mhm. So I think that that kind of comes back to something I mentioned a little bit earlier, which is there is a huge pro and con to being the front of a business and being the small business.
Hmm.
One of the pros is that you are a person who is perceived as a person, especially if you're doing it right.
Yeah.
So just tell them. Like
Uh-huh.
I don't really think of there being like a particularly like I mean, I wouldn't unless it's your brand to be really snippy, like be a jerk about it or something. But like I would, I think it's perfectly fine to put up a story that says, "Hey, like, because of the holiday season, we're going to be spending time with our families, for, like for our staff or for me or whatever type of thing. Like, so we're going to be checking things, or we're going to be posting a little bit less in order to knock that. Like, that's all totally fine. Just being transparent is
Uh-huh.
absolutely okay. There's a different expectation from like Adobe and Coca-Cola than there is from Bare Double or Wildflower.
Yeah.
Like it's because we are the small business owner running a small business. That's part of our appeal.
Uh-huh.
Like
Yeah,
that's
I
what
get that.
that's part of what people like about
Uh-huh.
us.
Yeah, I do feel that I felt this pressure more when I started my business,
Hmm.
right? Of wanting to like because my brand has been a lot of, hey, I bring all this experience that I've had, working for large corporations and I am now providing that small businesses. And so as part of that, I felt the need to present myself or behave in certain ways that large businesses do,
Hmm.
where it's yes, I am always available. There's someone who can always work on that, or
Hmm.
there's things are ongoing and the business doesn't stop because I took a day off or I'm sick.
Hmm.
It keeps on going. So in a sense, like putting it out there and doing things like automated uh, out of offices felt like I was failing my audience.
Mm.
And I think that that is something that I very much that like that's something I very much put on myself for no reason, right? For no reason. Um, but once I kind of learned that what you just spoke about, that is, the human connection, the fact that as opposed to, like some large agencies out there, when I start working on a project with the business owner, we do sit down for coffee, and we're chatting either at their office or at a coffee place or at my place or whatever. Like we're
Yeah.
creating that one-on-one connection. Then all of a sudden it does become more human, and the fact that you're taking days off, be it for holidays or for families or for being sick or whatnot, are not that big of a deal.
Yeah.
Um, Also, one thing that I learned a little bit later was that letting people know that those things were happening ahead of time was something that not only was nice for them to know if they were planning something, but it also created a little bit of FOMO. So my busiest periods
Mm.
have been when I say, "Hey, Bear Double shutting down for the week of Thanksgiving, and we're not going to be available then. If you have any projects that you want to get done, let's meet before, or and so otherwise we'll be adding a week to any project estimates." And that makes it to where a lot of people are like, "Hey, we need to get this done before you leave." And sometimes there are projects that can get done, others times there are projects that can get started and get published on a phased approach.
That makes sense. I do think, based on what you just said about like bringing the big business experience and stuff like that too, I think that one of the advantages I have with like my mindset around this that it's twofold. First, I never worked for corporate.
Hmm.
I've never had a corporate job. I have only ever worked for small businesses or had a small business myself.
Uh-huh.
So like I did not learn that piece of it from the career
Hmm.
perspective, but I also think that this is one of the biggest generational differences
Hmm.
between Gen X and Gen
I'm
Z.
sure.
Because us Gen Zers, we're like, yeah, we're gonna go eat with our family.
Uh-huh.
And it's just again, that is it. There is no
Yeah.
there's no like, yeah, please take the day off. You need the self-care. Like
Hmm.
that is a thing for us that we get a lot of crap for in a
Yeah.
lot of ways. But it's also it makes it much easier and like or much more a much simpler mindset around boundaries.
Hmm.
Because I don't we weren't like brought up in so much people pleasing. I don't
Oh yeah.
think. I don't think that that's kind of the I
Uh-huh.
mean, I don't know. I just I think that when you said that that's what popped in my head is like, oh, that's a you were raised different than I
Yeah.
was.
Definitely. That's very true.
Yeah.
Yep.
I wonder where millennials fall in that.
Maybe somewhere in the middle.
Probably somewhere in the middle. Probably somewhere in the middle. Uh, oh my
Maybe a
goodness.
balance. Look at that.
I think I've got balance. I don't think there's anything wrong with saying, "Hey, I'm not going to be there for a couple of days, but don't worry. I told you to be done by this time and it'll still be done." Like, I don't that
Yeah.
there's nothing wrong with that.
No, that's definitely very fair.
Like, oh my goodness. Okay, but getting us back on track.
We wrapping this thing up?
We are wrapping it up.
Okay, so let's go with the one small change that listeners can make this week to reduce their marketing stress during the holiday.
If you don't have a scheduling tool, why don't you like yourself?
Yeah.
don't get a scheduling
Yeah.
tool for your social
Yeah.
media, and you can also schedule your emails. But especially for social media, like you can do that. Please do it. Your life will get a lot easier.
You can schedule your blogs, you can schedule your website promos, you can schedule your price drops on your site. You can schedule everything. So please schedule.
Hmm.
Please schedule things. And then what I would say is just don't stress as much about the end of the year. It's hard to say that. I mean, it seems like simple, but taking a day off is not going to make people think that your business closed down permanently.
No.
Shutting down for a couple of days or even a week is fine.
Yeah, especially if you've been consistent. Like that's
Mhm.
part of the thing is like the consistency beforehand. Like you're allowed to just be a person.
Yeah, exactly. And then if listeners are only going to remember one message from today's episode, what should it be?
I mean,
You're going to go back to the well?
huh?
You're going to go back to the well?
I am going to go back to the well because I cannot tell you how many conversations I've had with business owners who don't schedule their content.
Yeah.
Like, and I'm like, I don't know how you haven't lost your mind. Like, scheduling tools are your friend. Use them.
Yeah, that I mean, honestly, yes, that's the thing. That's the key message from today. So I definitely would say if you remember one thing, remember that. If you remember two, then just be cognizant that holiday times are stressful. Different people are going through different phases of life. They're affected differently. So I think you need to be aware when you're putting your marketing out there that people can have different reactions to this time of the year. So as
Yeah.
you're building that, also realize there's different holidays that are being celebrated as well. Not saying for you to not celebrate yours, but just be considerate as well and expand your audience in that way.
Yeah. I
And,
agree with that.
and with that, we have wrapped it up. So thank you everyone for joining us. We hope you have a great holiday and we'll see you next time.
Happy holidays.